Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Lux and Leverage podcast. Your host here, Michelle Hex. For my new listeners, welcome, welcome, welcome. To my returning listeners, welcome back. I love recording this on a Monday morning, and I tell you what, I can't remember the last time I have started the week feeling so calm, feeling so relaxed, so at ease about what is coming my way for the week. I feel like I've had a complete nervous system reset, which has been a bit of a theme for me over the last few months, where it's been a little bit dysregulated as I've had some big things going on and big changes happening, and all good, but they definitely destabilize things, right? And that brings me to the topic of today's conversation, which is about ascension. If you aren't on my Instagram or my Facebook, I would love you to go and have a look at a post that I created there. At the time of this recording, it was yesterday, so Sunday, the 5th of October. And just, I think it was just something that was really needing to come out of me. And it was about this conversation around when you can feel like you've been in a little bit of a holding pattern for a while, and you're not necessarily going backwards, but you're not moving forwards either. And you feel like you're, stuck in some sort of holding pattern. And I know from my experience that this is really usually happening when you're stuck in between two worlds. It's like you've got something bigger calling you, but the idea isn't fully formed yet, and you're not quite ready to let go of what you have because it feels safe. And even if it's not, rocking your world right now, it still feels familiar. And so it feels a little bit, unsafe to go for the bigger thing, right? And it doesn't even necessarily mean that where you are right now is bad. And it's sometimes even more challenging to move forward when what you've created, and we're talking business here, if what you've created is working to some extent and you thought it was what you wanted to do and it's ticking all the boxes, but you're just not feeling the way that you felt that you would feel about it. And it's confusing. It can feel a little bit overwhelming, and it can feel a bit scary. And sometimes it can feel a bit sad as well, because we're leveling up, right? And we're feeling, for me at least, when I'm going through these phases, it feels like I'm getting ready to let go of something that has been really meaningful to me. And it can feel sad, because that thing has done so many amazing things for you. You've had the feels about it. It's been something that you've really enjoyed. But the scary thought is, well, what if this next thing completely takes me out of that? And what if I take a big risk? What if I decide to go all in on this other thing and then it doesn't work? And there's always risk, right? There's risk staying where you are. And my experience is that when we stay where we are because we are operating out of fear, where we are stops working in some way, some form. Something will happen to rock the boat, and it forces us to step into the thing that we've been avoiding. And so it can take a minute, right? It can take a minute to really feel it's time to take that step, because we fear that the next thing may not bring us what we want, right? But I know deep down we know that it will, right? I honestly believe that we don't have these massive intuitive hits, these massive downloads that we feel in our whole body, and our whole body says yes. We don't feel that if it's not real. And I've just gotten better at honoring that. And I'm better and better and better at leaving behind the things that are okay, but not rocking my world. And it's been a process. So if you're in that place of, maybe I'm about to take a big risk here, just know that oftentimes the risk is not really a risk, because the thing that you're stuck in or telling yourself that you're okay with or settling for will discontinue at some point anyway. You will be forced out of it. And so the risk is really not that great. And the risk is really just to start to chase the actual vision that you see in your mind, and become who you actually came here to be instead of settling for what you have right now. Now, some of you, this may not even be relevant. You might be so lit up, and in that case, this isn't for you. But if you are feeling, as I say, like you're in a bit of a holding pattern, it's usually because you're stuck between two worlds. You're stuck between this place of being comfortable and where you are right now, and knowing that something is coming, and having to hold the line and be patient and wait for it to drop in because you don't want to force it. It's a really uncomfortable place. And the other common, I guess, thing that comes up when we're in this place is, if you were to be really honest with yourself, usually this is going to be a result of you playing smaller than you came here to play, of you settling for less than what you came here to settle for. And, I've had this realization over the last couple of months, really, where, I am in the high ticket space and I love working in the high ticket space, but I've just had this sense that I've been playing at the low end of the high ticket space and it's starting to drain me. And the addition of a couple of new private clients has just elevated me back to where I'm used to playing. And it's made me realize that my offers have to change, my price points have to change. I need to actually be in alignment with where I see myself playing. And so over the weekend, I went through and I removed my mastermind, and I've got my inner circle there now. Instead, I have the PODCAST Millionaire up as an offer that's starting in a couple of weeks, with prices that are appropriate for the level that I play at, along with my private mentoring. And it feels so good. That's why I feel so amazing this morning, because I know that these price points and these offers are definitely going to bring me the type of clients that I love to work with the most, the ones who are, they're not in their own way. They're already making moves, they're doing things, and they just want my eyes over their business. They want my strategy brain. They want me to elevate them. They want me to open the door to what's possible and how to access what's possible and to start showing up, and for me to have their back. And it just feels like a different energy. And, the thing is, we get a little bit dragged down when we are working with clients who aren't matching our pace, when we're working with clients who aren't matching our vision. And I had the realization that, I do feel like there's a bit of not a downer energy. I'm so sensitive to energy. So it's not even a big thing, right? I love the people in my mastermind. The people are happy, like things are fine in there. But when I say things are fine, that's not what I want. I don't want fine. I was working with one of my private clients last week, and we were having a conversation, and, it was a bit of a rough week with, trying to get some strategies to work, and we had a few false starts, and it was a little bit frustrating, and we got it where it needed to be, and it was fine. And it was probably only a day or two. And my client was so grateful for the work that we're doing and the conversation that I had. He said, I feel like I have a partner in this. I feel like you really are a partner in this. And that's how I love to work. I like to feel like I am a partner in your project and not somebody that's having to push you and, hurry you along and, all of the things when you're working with people that aren't doing what you want them to do, because that's what they need to do to achieve the result, and they're firmly standing in their own way, and it's frustrating. And I don't want that energy in my business. I just don't want to do it. I don't. And so that's why there's this change, and it feels so good. It feels really, really good. And I also am really conscious that this other project that I'm launching that has got nothing to do with my current business, I spoke about it in the podcast last week, when that lands, when that is launched and when that's happening, I also need to create a calendar for myself that's going to make way for that so I can continue to do this work, but not feel like I need to do more. And so the inner circle will replace the mastermind, and the the podcast Millionaire, sorry, will be a program that has a start and an end date. And the inner circle now, the minimum requirement is 3 months to come and work with me in that inner circle. And so for me, it's like I now know that I can stop and start these offers if I need to take a break. But with the mastermind, it's 12 months long. And I've been very, very happy to do 12 months for a while now. I've really enjoyed it. And now I'm ready to move into those shorter programs, knowing that when people come into my inner circle, they will most likely be there a minimum of 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. That's just the way that it is. My clients tend to work with me for a very long time. But I want the option to be able to say, I need to park this for a month and then come back and put it on pause and know that I can do that. And the same with the podcast Millionaire. So it's really just been tweaking things a little bit more. And that leads me to the other point of this podcast conversation today, and that is we must let our business move with us. We can't stay stuck in something when it's no longer serving us and no longer working. And for me, this doesn't feel like a complete pivot. It doesn't feel like I'm going into a different business. It just means that I'm leaning more into the strategies that I love and are working really well and the simplest way. So Lux and Leveraged is the theme, right? And so for me, I know that with my podcast strategy, the one that's happening right now, the one that's growing my podcast towards monetization, and then being able to take me to millions of listeners every single month, that is a strategy that is so incredible. It's so leveraged. And I've spoke about this last week. All I need to do is come in and record my one podcast every month, record some bonus podcasts so that my subscribers can have access to that. And that's all I need to do. It's so leveraged. It means that I just do what I'm already doing. I don't need to add everything, but my podcast promotion team are going to be blowing this out of the water. And so I know that that's a very attractive strategy for people. I know this is something that people want. And so now I've created a package for that. It is called the Podcast Millionaire, and we can work together privately. We can work together in a group environment. And I can help you to do this. I can help you make sure your business is structured in a way that when this podcast traffic comes your way, then it means that your business is set up so that you can leverage it. And so the way my business is set up now, it is leveraged. With the mastermind, I have 4 calls a month. And that's not going to change. That will just roll into the inner circle. So I will still only do 4 calls a month. And then with the Podcast Millionaire, that is 4 calls, 4 weekly calls. And then my podcast promotion team take you, and then they get your podcast monetized, and they start to get that higher audience engagement there for you. So it feels so easy for me to run. It feels so light. It feels, I don't want to be creating new training modules. I don't want to be creating new content. I want to be just in it, mentoring people at the highest level, because that's where I thrive. That's when I do my best work. When I'm working with clients who are already well on their way and they meet me where I'm at, that is where we get the best results. And so I know that this is not going to be draining in any way. I know it's not going to be taxing in any way. I know it's going to light me up. I know that it's going to just give me so much life, because this is the way that I love to work with my clients. And so this whole idea of shedding, having to create any other content, it just feels amazing to me. And so the podcast strategy is kicking in. It will continue to kick in over the coming months, and over the next year, it's going to be massive. And I want to share that with the people who are ready to invest and know that it's not just about me helping you set up your business so that it is, going to thrive in terms of when the traffic comes in, you're set up so that you can scale without breaking anything. and that your business is a very simplified model, so that with, the volume of traffic that's coming through, you can maximize it. It is leveraged. But it's not just about that, and it's not just on me anymore, it's on my team, because they are then going to, as I say, monetize your Spotify account. So you will start earning Spotify revenue stream. And then from there, I have done a deal with my team where you don't pay anything up front to continue to grow your podcast. They take a percentage of your Spotify revenue, and they will work so hard, because the harder they work, the more money they make. The harder they work, the more money you make and the more listeners you have. So this is something that's going to add an additional revenue stream to your business every single month. We're talking thousands of dollars every single month, and you won't need to do anything other than record your podcast. And you may have a podcast already, but you don't have a listenership. That's okay. We can use that. We can make a few tweaks. We can look at what needs to be done in your business so that it can withstand the traffic that's going to come in, and set you up to make the most of it. And so why wouldn't I share that as a strategy? Now, not everybody wants to do that, and that's fine. I have the inner circle where we can execute any of the other strategies that I have working right now. But this product just feels so exciting to me because it's such a massive win-win. And I know that, when you have a podcast, how many of you, I know there are many of you that, you wait for this podcast to drop every week and it lands in your inbox, and you are loyal to this podcast, and that will be the same for you and your podcast. And when the time is right, you will come on board, you will be in my DMs, we'll have a chat, you'll come into my world at some point, or you won't, and that's fine. But there is going to be a percentage of people that will always become clients through this podcast. And the more people that I have listening and subscribing, the more people that will be. And so it will be the same for you. And this is a strategy that I'm excited to work with you and help you to do. So if you are thinking, in 2026, I don't want to be a slave to social media. I just want a simplified way of having people find me. Well, what will 1 to 2 million streams on Spotify per month do you think will do for your business? It's going to be massive. I don't even think I can wrap my head around it. So anyway, let's tidy this up. I'm getting ready to wind it up for you, but this podcast is about acknowledging where you're at. And if you're feeling like you're in a holding pattern, if you feel like you're not necessarily going backwards, but you're not moving forwards either, just know that something big is coming. Acknowledge it, and also acknowledge that this feeling, the only way we elevate out of this feeling is to be inspired. And the way that we inspire ourselves is to actually play at the level that we came here to play at. And sometimes we start that way and the intention is there, and we set up our business that way and it's all working that way. And then we grow out of it, right? We elevate ourselves and then we realize, oh, okay, there's a lag here. I need to get everything to elevate. And for me, that's always been the recipe. The recipe is, what's the bigger vision here? And what do I need to do to move into that vision? And when I start to lock in on that, that's when everything rises and quantum leaps start to happen. And it can't be by playing in a world that is maybe not where you want it to be, and then you settling for that and maybe dialing down your expectations. That is a recipe for disaster. And that is why people stay stuck for way too long, and they sit there, watching their business like blow up in the worst possible way and just slowly fade away. And they panic and they start to do things that aren't in alignment and don't feel good because they're trying to make sales happen. And then they're wondering why the tap is turned off. And it's because they're not meant to be there anymore. They're meant to be chasing the bigger vision. And so maybe that's you. And then put those moves into place. And if you need support, then you can come and join me in my inner circle. Or if the podcast strategy is something you really feel like you need, then go to my website. It's there now. It's called the PODCAST Millionaire. And first, the millions of streams will come, and then will come the millions of dollars, without a doubt. And so if that's what you want to achieve in 2026, then you know where to find me. The links are in the show notes. And I would love to hear from you in my DMs if you have any questions about any of this. But my final parting piece of love to you is this: don't settle. Don't settle for what doesn't feel like, if what you're doing isn't lighting you up, if it's not challenging you in the best possible way, if it doesn't feel big enough and you're feeling stuck, it's time to move. You have to move, and it's time to ascend. It is time to rise up, go bigger, come here, figure out who you came here to be truly, and start showing up as that person and making the moves and decisions they will make. Don't make decisions from the way, from where you're at right now, because they're going to lead you to decisions that will continue and perpetuate that, the settling kind of energy. You want more, right? You want bigger. So it's time to make bigger moves. And I'm here if you want me to help you make those happen. All right, that is it. I will see you next week.